What's up, guys? How are we all doing? Hope you're having a good day. Now, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think spellcasters in the game are actually a lot of fun and they're super useful to have. Some of the spells that you can learn and some of the potions that you can learn, you cannot beat them. But when you bring your spellcaster to the magic realm to learn everything there is to know about magic, this is what they're greeted with. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this building has always left me wanting more. Given that my short lifespan legacy challenge, if you guys haven't seen that before, I'll link that down below so you can catch up. My Gen 2 sim, she aged up into a teenager with the aspiration purveyor of potions, which means she wanted to become a spellcaster and learn everything there is to know about potion making. So I was like, perfect opportunity, it's time to build a new magic realm. So that's exactly what we did. See how it says right here, this lot is not editable. Well, there's a sneaky little trick to get around that. bb.enable free build, enter, and now I can enter build mode. Now, here's the fun part. Bye-bye! Get rid of all the terrain. This terrain paint here is like stuck to the lot. So that is something that we sort of just have to work around. But yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so what you're watching here is actually my third attempt at getting this shape correct. So obviously I'm building in a very strange way, but like I said, this was like my third time attempting it, so I kind of already knew what I was going for, so that's why I'm building it in such a random order. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but this build was heavily inspired by the TV show on Netflix, Wednesday. So Wednesday Addams attends a school for supernaturals, outcast type people called Nevermore Academy, and this build was very heavily inspired by that. So when I was watching it, it was just after the Life and Death pack had released, and I saw all of this, the architecture of this building was just so stunning, and I thought, oh my gosh, that looks exactly like the architecture we just got in the Life and Death pack. This school feels so magical, it feels so grand, something that I think the magic realm deserves. It deserves to feel grand. You come to this awesome hidden world, by the way. So the magical realm, it can't be accessed via the map. So you have to load into the neighborhood that came with Realm of Magic. You load into Glimmerbrook. And then you'll find this arched portal. So as I'm moving around, you'll probably see one of them in the background. So there's several of these portals around, but there's one in Glimmerbrook that actually brings you to this realm. This is where you can bring your spellcasters. Number one, you can bring your sims actually to be transformed into a spellcaster if they are just a normal sim at birth. Yeah, they can be turned into a spellcaster, or if your sim is born a spellcaster, they already have everything they need. You can bring them here to start learning magic. So there's all sorts of things that they can learn. So there's different spells, there's different potions, there's things called familiars, so there's little orbs around the place that they can go and find, and these familiars can be helpful for controlling their magical discharge. Is it discharge? Overcharge? The charge. On their needs panel, there's like this big red circle that goes up and up and up as you use more magic. Familiars can actually help control that. Unfortunately, there is a risk of death if your sim overcharges, so familiars can help with managing that. They're also really cute and they kind of just fly around next to you. So there's lots of things you can do, but yeah, I was just never happy with the magic realm that was here. It just always felt very lackluster. Given that my Gen 2 legacy sim is a spellcaster and we're going to be visiting this lot a lot over the next however many episodes it takes to get through her generation, I wanted something to play in that filled all my needs. So not just actually the spellcaster related things, I wanted to be able to come here and stay here if I wanted to. So I've treated this properly like a boarding school type thing, exactly like what Nevermore Academy from Wednesday is. It's a boarding school. So this, rather than just being like this random castle that people hang out at, it's actually like a place that it feels like you can enroll into. So there's lots of dormitories and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, anyway, you can see me here now I'm working on roofs now. I've got these two diagonal spots on each of the back corners, and I was trying really hard to get that same kind of roof type that I'd done on everything else, but it just wasn't working properly for me on the diagonal, so I sort of just gave up and I put just one regular diagonal roof on, which I think still looks fine. On the rest of them, you would have seen that I was using like platforms. Yeah, so there's a lot going on with this build. It is very intricate. It took me a long time to work out what I was after, and I wanted to utilize every single nook and cranny, because no matter how many people, obviously for myself, I only plan to use it for my sim at the moment. but I like it so much that I will probably just put it in all of my gameplays. The general limit of sims that can load into a lot is 20 sims. Now, that might seem like a lot, and it is. If there's 20 sims on your lot, it can feel very chaotic. It doesn't feel like much in this size of a build, which is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want it to feel so chaotic and clustered all the time. I wanted it to feel, you know, very open, like there was lots of things to do, lots of spaces to go. And also, if you have mods, especially things like the MC Command Center mod, you can increase the amount of sims that can load into a lot. I personally don't like to do that because I get overwhelmed enough as it is when there's even like 8 sims on a lot. So I don't ever change that, but I know that some people do for various reasons. And so when you do that, it allows even more sims to spawn into the lot. And a build this size, there's always something available for your sim to use, even if there were more than the usual 20 sims on the lot. So I'm still playing around with the exterior shape here. It does take me quite a while to get everything looking exactly how I want it to. We're still working on like color scheme. The exterior is very heavily Life and Death, the Life and Death expansion pack. For the most part, I would say like 90% of this build is Realm of Magic, Life and Death, Crystal Creations, and Base Game. Those were my 4 main packs that I was using. Now, I was actually at the time thinking that they were the only packs I was using, that I wasn't using anything else from any other pack. Well, unfortunately, as you've already seen, there's a freeze that I've placed. That's creamy type freeze. It's that sort of like the around the tower. That's from Vampires. It didn't even occur to me at the time that that wasn't the base game one. There is a base game one that looks kind of similar to that one, but no, I, for some unknown reason, used the Vampires pack. There is also a random item from Cottage Living in here, and one item from, I think it's Jungle Adventure or something. Like, there's a couple of items that I accidentally used from other packs, but they're literally like one item. So annoying, right? I know. Anyway, I didn't mean to. I was really trying hard to just do base game, Realm of Magic, Life and Death, and Crystal Creations. But yeah. So if you do decide to download this build, they are the main 4 packs that I use. So if you have those 4, you'll be so fine to download this build. Obviously, there are a couple of things, like I said, that are from other packs. Just an oversight on my behalf. I mean, for my personal gameplay, it's not a huge problem because I have all of the packs and obviously I built it, so I know that it works in my game. But yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry if that bugs you. I was really trying to keep it limited pack. I will eventually build one that's purely base game and Realm of Magic as well, because I do have a build save that I'm working on my Twitch stream. If you haven't heard that before, I do stream on Twitch almost every single day, twitch.tv/BeccaMac07. So head on over there if you want to join in even more fun, and I do lots of building and some more gameplay and things over there. I do have a whole build save that I'm working on. I'm basically going through every single world and like rebuilding all the lots. Some of the empty lots I'm filling in as well, and I'm only using I'm only using items that came from the specific pack that world came from, if that makes sense. So for instance, Willow Creek and Oasis Springs are purely base game worlds. Also Newcrest, if I do end up building up Newcrest, I think I will. At this stage I haven't started that yet, but yeah, Willow Creek and Oasis Springs will be purely base game builds. Obviously, given that we have had just some recent base game drops with some new items, that's super exciting and is going to make my life so much easier for those base game builds. But yeah, so that's, if that sort of makes sense, that's what I'm planning to do on my Twitch stream. So I will eventually get to Glimmerbrook and I will be building a Realm of Magic that's purely base game and Realm of Magic. So if this one is kind of still out of reach for you pack-wise, you can stay tuned and I will eventually have one that enough packs for you, but that could still be a while off because I take my time when I'm building. This build in particular, something like 12 hours worth of work in this build. This is a big one and this is a little out of the ordinary for me though. Like, I don't normally take that long, but you know, between 3 and 6 hours to like build houses and stuff, that's pretty regular for me because I do like to just take my time and you know, think about all the tiny details. I really enjoy cluttering up spaces to make, especially like homes and things. I enjoy cluttering them up to make them feel lived in, feel homely, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, back to the build. So basically we're just looking at putting some windows in as well. A lot of Life and Death. You can see a few of the Realm of Magic windows there as well. But for the most part, the Life and Death windows definitely do make the cut more than the Realm of Magic windows. I struggle a little bit with the Realm of Magic windows. I want to love them so much, and I think that the color swatches on them are all really beautiful, but they're also so specific. So I was sort of going for this, like, for the exterior anyway, there's a lot of purple, and obviously that was influenced by the color of the surrounding trees, the color of the sky, you know, so there was a lot of purple going on. But with the Realm of Magic windows, if I wanted to get the swatches that match the Life and Death windows, the stained glass was not right, like that didn't match the color scheme, so I struggled a lot with that. But those big round windows that you can see that I have used around the place, they did sort of have the right color scheme going, so I was able to incorporate them pretty easily. But yeah, the other ones, yeah, I kind of just struggled with them a little bit. But the Life and Death windows, they're just immaculate, so they definitely have pride of place in this building. Yeah, so working on the exterior was definitely it was a lot of work. I don't even know how to say that any other way. It took a long time. I went back and forth a lot with the window placements, and I just really wanted it to look good from every angle. So you can see me moving the camera around a lot. I am looking from every single angle that you look at that this building looks interesting. And, you know, there's nothing sort of out of place, I guess, because this building, she's a big one. Yeah, I'm trying to work on stair placement right now. I knew straight away that I wanted to have these big grand staircase right at the front of the building. But you can see me here working on, well, actually, I am working on the wrong level right now. I'm currently trying to put stairs on the second level when I'm supposed to be on the ground floor, and I realize that in a second and I go back. But a good thing to point out is you can see me when I'm making these platforms and stuff, you can see all the roofs clipping through. Now that is just a known Sims 4 thing. When you're making roofs, if they clip with rooms inside, normally they disappear on the inside, and that's all fine and good, no worries, until you try to put either like an opening, so for instance, if you wanted to have like a voided ceiling area next to your stairs, which is what I'm trying to do here, if you wanted to have like a voided ceiling, if you want to put a platform in around the area, as soon as you do one of those things, all the roofs clip back through the building, as you can see what's going on right now. So I had to think about that pretty hard and work out how I was going to fix that. So I did replace the roofs, some of the roofs, just to help with that, the main amount of clipping. And then I was able to sort of section off the room a little bit to cover everything else. So we managed to work it out. It was a little bit fiddly, but we got there. So I ended up just basically deleting this entire third floor of this area because I could not work out any stairs to get us up there, and I figured this building was big enough. We could do with some sort of voided spaces. Yeah, so this is the main staircase. As you can see, I did already bring a sim in just to check that they worked, because sometimes you can get a bit glitchy if you try putting multiple stairs on like platforms and stuff. But no, this one works. I have tested it. It's functional. So yeah, we're just filling in this little gap of this space up here. Again, there was some extra space that didn't line up with upstairs, so I turned it into these sort of like built-in bookshelf areas. I just thought that looked really cool. Sort of entrance, there's a lot of bookcases everywhere here. It's also, obviously I had to include the Realm of Magic bookcases as well, because there is particular interactions that you can search for tomes, and that only works in the Realm of Magic bookcases. So they are sprawled around as well, but I do use a lot of the Life and Death and Crystal Creations bookshelves as well, because the Crystal Creations bookshelves with the ladder, stunning. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see, I actually cut out me working out the floor plan, because golly, what a nightmare that was. Yeah, I think even still I end up making a few revisions to walls here and there. There's a few odd shapes, things like some of the bathrooms are shaped like a triangle, and basically it's just like those angled walls, the two angled areas in the back of the building, they caused me a lot of stress on the interior, but I just thought they looked so good on the exterior that I was like, I have to make this work. We do have a few odd shapes here and there, particularly it's mostly the bathrooms that cop it when it comes to the weird shapes, but for the most part I think it ends up being okay. So here's me adding a few extra details to the exterior. I wanted to add some extra balconies and stuff. I wanted there to be multiple entrances, and I think it also just adds to the shape. The shape of this building is so crazy, but like I think it just works. I also had a bit of a tough time with the terrain paint. You can see me here, I'm layering a bunch of different textures because, like I said at the beginning, there's that built-in terrain paint that you actually actually can't do anything about. It's just there, you have to work with it. And I liked it for the most part, and I was able to utilize a lot of it in creating the pathing that I did. But obviously I needed some extra space, and the Sims being the Sims, they didn't give us a terrain paint that matches what's on the ground. They gave us an actual floor tile with Realm of Magic that's very similar to that, but no terrain paint. So I'm layering a bunch of different sort of stone textures just to try and blend it all in and make it look quite natural kind of stone that's moving around. I also utilize a lot of debug in this build, particularly when it comes to the landscaping. So these sort of purpley bushes are all Life and Death, I think. Yeah, these are from Life and Death, and I just thought they worked so perfectly with that kind of purpley scheme that was going on with the trees around. Yeah, so we are working on the landscaping. The mushroom, those little mushroom pieces are from the Realm of Magic debug, and I think these sort of fern bushes are also from the Realm of Magic debug. And yeah, I just think everything works really well together, that sort of mix of the green and the purple. It just makes it feel very whimsical, you know, like this is not the sort of bushes or landscaping that you would see in a regular build. We're just going through with some base game flowers now in that purple color again. There's a lot of cauldrons around as well. Like I said, that was a big thing for me, was cauldrons were always tough to come by. So I wanted there to be cauldrons for me to use whenever I needed to. Doing a little bit of rock work, just, you know, some fun stuff just to try and hide those little clipping stuff that comes when you're working and manipulating with terrain. We're just covering that up. We're working on some rocks around the landscaping as well. The landscaping took me a long time. Landscaping is not my strong point. I tend to either do too little or too much. I think in this case, it might be a little too much, but I think it works because of the style of build. I think the overgrown sort of lushness of all the plants around the building, I think works. And given the height of this castle as well, it's not like it's overshadowing the building. So I think it works. Obviously, you can let me know in the comments if you disagree or if you have any feedback. I'm more than happy to hear feedback if there's anything that you guys can suggest or think that I could have done better. I am absolutely open to hearing that, so please let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I am pretty proud of how this build went. Obviously, like I said, it took me about 12 hours. So when I put all that footage together and sped it up, it was still like an hour and a half long, and we don't want the build to go that long. So I cut out quite a bit of it. Yeah, I show mostly doing the exterior, and I show a couple of the rooms on the inside. You can see me working on the greenhouse now. This greenhouse in particular, I wanted to make sure that actually had all the plants in it that you will need for potion making. So I actually went through, I figured out all the plants that are required for each of the potions that you can learn, and I made sure that they were planted in this greenhouse already. I also cluttered it like there was no tomorrow. Basically every plant that I could find that looked like it would belong in a greenhouse, I got out of build mode and I just stacked them all up, and then I started building around. I also put the woodworking table in and the bonsai tree, because that's a little bit of extra skill building that your Sims can do, but also I think it sort of just works in the greenhouse. The woodworking table sort of looks a little bit like the flower arranging table from Seasons. It sort of looks a little bit like a greenhousey type table that you would see. But yeah, like I said, you can see me sort of pulling out all these tables and things now. There's a little gnome there waiting to hold a special plant. Yeah, and I just sort of just went around then and just placed all the tables around. I wanted it to look like sort of that it had evolved over time. So, you know, all these plants were being grown and they were like, oh, we need somewhere to put this one. Oh, let's bring in another table. So it's a very mismatched sort of look of tables. So that's the greenhouse. We'll have a look at it more when I do the tour at the end. Okay, so now we're working on, this is one of the towers. So this tower is actually attached to one of the dormitories. This particular room was inspired by the dormitory room that Wednesday Addams and her roommate Enid share in the TV show Wednesday. Obviously, one side of it is like really kind of dark, moody colors, and then Enid's side is very bright and colorful, you know, fun posters, things like that. And I sort of wanted to replicate that a little bit in this room. That round window as well sort of gave me the inspiration to do it, because obviously their dormitory, the main feature is this big circle window that's beautiful. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, you know what, let's turn this room into that. Obviously this was a bit smaller than what they have, but just the inspiration, you know? Yeah, there's quite a mix of sort of purples and pinks, and obviously then there's the black side. the dark and moody Wednesday Addams side, but I just think it works really well together and it's really fun, and they get their own little fireplace. These fireplaces from Normal Magic are kind of a hit or miss for me. I really like the look of them in sort of that kind of fantasy vibe, but they're so hard to use. The colour swatches are very specific, so they don't go with a lot of stuff. You can see me here doing a bathroom. This is actually one of the only bathrooms that I actually keep in the build. Basically, I worked out the style of the bathrooms when I was doing this one. This one's very black and white, but the fixtures that I use are pretty much these same fixtures throughout all the bathrooms. I sort of just changed the color schemes. I kind of used the same flooring, same walls, but just changed the color swatches. So I decided to cut those out because I figured that you didn't need to watch me furnish 13 bathrooms all pretty much the same. So now we're working on this particular room is like an office space. I wanted to create an office space for each of the three mages. You know, the three, like there's Elphaba, Simeon Silver Sweater, and Morgan Ember, and they are like the mage, the sage, maybe they're the sages. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look at it, I can't remember. But one of them's like specializes in mischief magic, one of them specializes in practical magic, and the other one's I can't remember what the other one is now. If you guys remember what it is, put it down below. I haven't played with this pack much, and I'll be playing with it a lot soon, but I haven't really done anything with it yet. So I'll be relearning everything as I'm playing with it, because it has been a while since I've actually played with spellcasters. I'm pretty excited to get into it, but yeah, as you can see by my complete forgetting of simple things like what even is the third type of magic that you can learn. Anyway, so yeah, this particular office is for Elphaba. I used a lot of purples. I found these crystals in Debug. I don't know, it kind of felt like her. She's got the purple hair, but I felt like it sort of matched her energy as well. Yeah, so that was Elphaba's office. We are now moving on to another dormitory. So like I said, there is quite a few dormitories in this build. I don't show all of them in the speed build, just a few of them. Some of the recordings that I did didn't quite work properly either. Some of the recordings sort of like stopped halfway. So there's bits and pieces that didn't record properly anyway, which is frustrating. But, you know, there's not enough time in a speed build to show everything anyway. So I guess it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it helped me sort of narrow down bits that I could show. But I'm just showing you a few of the dormitories just so that you can get an idea of sort of how different I made each of them. They're all using the same sorts of furniture and stuff. Like I said, that base game, Realm of Magic, Life and Death type of vibes. I used different color schemes and just different vibes for all of them, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. We're moving into the kitchen now. So the kitchen, this room's huge, but I wanted the kitchen to feel grand. Like, you're in a castle this large, there's going to be a big kitchen, right? So we're using the life and death counters. I went for this sort of teal swatch with the wood, because that's not a swatch that I've used of these counters yet. Obviously, I always go for like, you know, like the green or the black ones, or even just like the white ones. I really wanted to try and use one that I hadn't used yet, and I thought that this sort of tealy color works really well. You can see me messing around with colors of curtains right now. I sort of went for these purple curtains, but they stay there for a little bit. I wanted to try and let them sit and see how I felt about it, see if I could bring some more of that color into the kitchen. No, it didn't work. So don't mind the purple curtains, they don't stay for long. So now I'm just sort of cluttering up the kitchen as well. So I just sort of going through all of the clutter and pulling it all out, and then I alt place a lot of it after I've sort of got it all out. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the kitchen turned out. I think it looks quite grand, but also has just a slight bit of whimsy about it, which is sort of the vibe of this entire build. Grand and formal, but slightly whimsy, I guess is a good way to explain it. Okay, as you can see, this was one of the moments where the recording cut out, so I did a whole nother room, like a dining room and sort of a living area off of the kitchen. There's also another bathroom there. I'll show you all properly like in the tour that I do, but we're moving on to a second sitting room. So basically, it's hard to explain, but when you walk in the front door of this, like that main entrance with the grand staircase, off to the right, there's like a sitting area, a dining table, and the big kitchen, and then the greenhouse is off the kitchen. There's also a bathroom over there. Off to the left, which is where we are now, is a second sitting room that heads into a library. So we're sort of working on this second sitting room right now. You can get glimpses of the other builds, like the other side that I've done. But yeah, like I said, I'll show you in the tour at the end. Okay, so you'll also see that there is lots of knight statues around. I sort of just imagined in a castle this size, you would have these knight statues everywhere. I don't know what it is about castles like this. I don't know if it's actually like a real life thing. I've never really been to any kind of castles. We don't really have things like that here in Australia. Yeah, I don't know if knight statues are just sort of just hanging around. But in movies and things, I always seem to see knight statues everywhere. So I went a little crazy with the knight statues, but I think it works. I think it's funny. And yeah, so we're moving on to the library now. I'm using the Life and Death bookcases for the most part, and then there's a few of the Crystal Creations ones there. I was playing around with a second row of Crystal Creations bookshelves as well. I end up getting rid of those and just going purely for these Realm of Magic ones over here. It just sort of felt a little bit too cluttered. Like, we went too far with the bookcases, you know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that I used all the different types, which sort of then brought in the use of all the different bookcases throughout the building. If all three of them are in the library, it sort of felt more cohesive that way. But yeah, I kept it more open in the center and the bookcases are just around the edges. You can see me putting these desks in. I wanted to make sure that there was some computers on the lot, because that was something as well that I thought was lacking from the actual pack build. There was like no computers, and computers are just so useful to have on any lot. So I put 2 down. It's not many, but there are also, for instance, that room that I did that was inspired by Wednesday and Enid's room. There's also a computer up there. That's the cottage living item. I accidentally put the cottage living typewriter computer up there, but we'll just pretend that that didn't happen. Yeah, we're making a little seating area in the library here. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like, it feels very simple, but also very full and cozy, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel overcluttered. It doesn't feel like too much. I think obviously the amount of bookcases, it's a library, you expect to see a ridiculous amount of bookcases. I think it just works. Again, if you disagree at any point, you are more than welcome to let me know. The comments are a free-for-all, so go for it. Let me know what you think. I am super open to making any changes. Also, it's on the gallery, so if you want to download it and make some changes and re-upload it, you're more than welcome to. That's the beauty of The Sims. So now what we're working on here is, it's kind of like a dining hall. This room sort of had me stumped as to what I actually wanted to do with it, and I didn't really need any more of the offices because I'd already designated where I wanted the other offices to go for the 2 other sages. So I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I figured it felt like the right kind of size for like a dining hall. We have this table up here with these bigger chairs that's sort of giving like teacher vibes, like the teachers would sit there. And then I think I put 4 tables down the bottom and like squish them together to make 2 long tables to make it look like sort of that's where the students would sit and eat. In real life, they don't really. It's The Sims. They kind of just do whatever they want, but there's a lot of like implied stuff in here. Everything that you need is fairly close in this build. Obviously, it's quite large, but everything that you need is pretty close. So when it comes to traversing around the actual build, it's not too crazy trying to get to everything. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I just think it looks really good. And these extra rooms, even though they're not 100% necessary, you know, they still get used. Even if your sim just wants to come sit down here and read a book, or if your sim has a laptop in their inventory, you can sit at one of these desks and pull the laptop out and use them. And, you know, there's a lot of options for you. And I also do end up putting a cauldron in this room as well, over in that other sort of nook over to the left. So there's another cauldron in here. There's more things to use. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear it in the background. It's actually pouring rain outside. It's just started raining, so I don't know if that's like getting picked up by my mic. I hope it's not. But if it just got really dark in here, that's why, because it just came over raining really bad. So anyway, moving on. So this is the one other bathroom that I showed, because I actually did this one a little bit differently. So this one I turned into more of like a public bathroom kind of vibe, and I thought it fit well here next to the dining hall, because I thought, obviously, you know, in real life, not in Sims life, but in real life, you know, having a multi-use toilet and shower area close by to the dining hall, you know, would be useful. A lot of people sometimes like to, or need to, go to the toilet pretty quickly after they've eaten. So, real life, let's make sure there's lots of toilets close to the dining hall. However, in the Sims life, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter where the toilets are, they'll get there. But I liked this idea anyway. It was just something different. This bathroom was bigger than the rest of them as well, so I had the room for it. I had the room for all the showers, and I thought this one's like the closest sort of shower area that you can go to without having to go to one of the dormitories. If you bring your sim here and they need a shower, that one's probably the closest to get to. I put some of the Life and Death crows in as well, because I thought that was kind of fun. I felt they felt kind of magical to me to add to the vibes, so I kept them. I thought they're really cute. So now we're working on one of the other offices. I kind of imagined this office for Simeon. So to me, Simeon sort of feels very green. There's nothing really about him that says I like plants and I like green, but I don't know, I felt like it just sort of matched his vibe, so we went with it. Yeah, we go for like this sort of like green and teal, and I don't know, so compared to like the purple and the crystals and stuff that I used for Elphaba, this one feels a lot more like nature based. But I think this is going to bring an end to the speed build. There is a lot that I haven't shown you, but let's jump in and let's have a look at it all. Okay, so here we are. We have some fun little stuff. You can see I've got some crystal trees around in the corner. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It is a big build. There's a lot to see. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it blends in to the surrounds really well. I think it really matches the vibe that they have going with everywhere else. So let's go take a look. We have a courtyard here to start off with. We've just got some like tables and chairs, places to hang out. There's a nice little cauldron here amongst the garden. When you come through to the main hall where the stairs are, come up the stairs and you can go either way. So back here, I kind of just have some chest tables, just filling the space to get us to this back area. Okay, so when you go off to the right, this is the first living area that I said that I did, that the recording went weird. So this room here, I really like this color scheme. It is not a color scheme that I've ever done before, but I basically went off, I think it was this rug. This rug got me started. So we had this sort of like blue and like creamy yellowy beigey color and this sort of brown, and I think it sort of just goes together really, really nicely. This is that dining table that I was talking about. Through here we have a bathroom. Nothing too crazy, it's just a bathroom. Through here we have our kitchen. Oh, here's Morgan. Yeah, I did change them. Okay, I did change them. So we ended up going just for like a brown color, which I think is fine. And we have just a little balcony off the side here, another entrance for your Sims. Okay, through here is our greenhouse. So like I said, I planted every single plant that is required for potion making, including the death flower. All of these planter pots are functional. I had my sim access all of these planter pots to plant all of these bushes, so they are all functional for your Sims to use and interact with. So that is that side. Over to the left, we have this other sitting room, sort of within the same color scheme realm, I guess, just leans more into the yellow rather than the blue. But I think it sort of helps transition into the teal a bit because it's not as blue. It's feeling a little bit more maybe heading towards like the greenish kind of tealy color that we've got going on in the library. So you saw the library in the speed build. Like I said, we have the Life and Death bookcases, the Crystal Creations bookcases, and the Realm of Magic bookcases, all in here for you to access. We have some computers, a nice little sitting area. We have this little balcony out here with another chess table. I have basically all the other skill building items that you can have, I have as well in the build, just that your sim has things to do. Like if you want to bring your sim here and stay here, you totally can. Like there's everything that your sim needs. Again, this is the hallway. Nothing too crazy. Leading into the dining hall. So like I said, this is pretty much just like a extra space, but again, it does get utilized. We have another cauldron up on here, which I thought was nice. I thought this could be a good one to do. So in the cauldrons, you can actually make big giant vats of mac and cheese. So random. You can fill it with mac and cheese, and then the Sims will just come and help themselves. That one could be a good one if you wanted to actually utilize this as a dining hall. Fill this with mac and cheese, the Sims will autonomously come and eat from it and hopefully sit down at one of these tables. So that's a little tidbit for you. Okay, so heading upstairs, this is floor 2 of 3. So when you come up these stairs, here we have obviously these little built-in bookshelf nooks, more knight statues. Over to the right, when we go over this way, we have another sitting area. So there are a lot of sitting areas here, a lot of places for your Sims to hang out. This one is much more skill building based. We have chess table, bonsai tree, there's the easel, we have, I think that's another bonsai tree over there that's already been worked on by someone. That's nice. We have a woodworking table and just lots of places to sit and relax. Through here, we have 2 dormitories, both with their own ensuite bathrooms. So over here, this one, it's got that very blue and yellow going again. This is the Crystal Creations wallpaper. It's all very similar stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're doing limited packs and a build this size, you tend to start reusing items. So for instance, this piece of art is a around the place a lot. Base game rugs, a lot of the same plants, but I still think I managed to make it feel different enough, especially with like the bathrooms all being so different. I'm really proud of myself for how I managed to keep the bathrooms all so different. So this one has a much more really heavily sort of teal feel. Quite like this one. I actually quite like this bathroom. I think it's really nice. Over to this side, this is another like twin room for 2 Sims to sleep in. This room, these Sims have a bit of a Grim Reaper obsession. Good for them, don't we all? Much more like brown and basic over here. Same as like their bathroom. Their bathroom's a lot more basic. This was sort of like the room that I said was like the cheap room. So if you had to pay to stay, like hotel style, this is like the low end. You've got like cheaper bathroom. You know, that was sort of like the vibe I was going for this particular dormitory. Okay, so heading back across the hall, we go over to the left. We have a nice, beautiful shrine to the Tragic Clown. Because who doesn't love the Tragic Clown? I think he just fits so perfectly there. I think he looks so nice. He's protected by some night. Everyone's lighting candles for him. Beautiful. Okay, over to this room. This is a potions classroom. Obviously, this is not actually one of the offices. This is specifically what it is. I wanted it to be like a potions classroom. So we've got like tables and chairs. All of this walls just like full of potions and like ingredients, I guess, was sort of the vibe I was going for here. I really liked this room. I thought it was fun with another cauldron. There's also a bathroom off of that too. Very dark and moody to match the potions room. Through this hallway, more knight statues. We have one of the other dormitories. This one's quite basic, single bed, but it has also like a nice fireplace and some chairs, a bit more green with that sort of same matching color scheme headed into the bathroom. Like I said, the bathrooms all ended up with like really weird shapes, but I think it's fine. Everything's functional. You can access everything over here. So these stairs lead to 2 more dormitories upstairs, but we're not going to get to them just yet because we're going to go check out Elphaba's office, which, by the way, Simeon is hanging out in. Excuse me, Simeon. This is not your office. Get out. Okay, anyway. So yeah, this was based off of Elphaba. I think it just really suits her vibe. We've got lots of Realm of Magic bookcases in here for your Sims to search for tomes. She has 2 cauldrons. So there's one in her office and one on the balcony as well. And yeah, so that is floor 2. So floor 3 is a little bit where it gets confusing. So you'll notice that there's lots of extra stairs heading around. So this set of stairs leads to Simeon's office. He has a really basic bathroom off of it. But yeah, this is him. Thought it was cute. So going back downstairs, if we head this way, we have another set of stairs up here, which leads you to a dormitory. This one itself has its own balcony and a sneaky little death trap in the telescope being here. This is like probably the smallest dormitory that we have, but it still completely has everything you need. It has a bathroom. And right next door, we have another staircase, which leads us to, I love this room. I think it looks really cool. So yeah, and then we have another bathroom off of them. And through here, you can actually come up and access this tower. There's another cauldron and another telescope. I don't know if this telescope actually functions because I put it down before I made the roof just so that I could actually place it there, but I'm not sure if your Sims will use it anymore. That's something that I didn't test, but it looks cool. So we'll just leave it there anyway. So that is that side. Off to this side, we have another set of stairs. So up this set of stairs brings you to another dormitory. So this one was giving teacher vibes. Like I felt like a teacher probably lived in this dormitory with another bathroom. And off to this side, we have the other office. Now this office is blue. Now I don't particularly see this as Morgan's office. You'll notice that in my gameplay, Morgan is actually no longer the sage. My sim from Generation 1 kind of dated Morgan for a little bit. So they kind of glitched and they're like no longer the sage. So there's someone new. So I kind of just left this office. I really liked the blue vibe just because I thought it was different from the rest of them. And I thought that the blue color scheme worked better than going for like a whole big like red color scheme to fully match that sage. But I really like this one. I think this is nice. Yeah, so this is the other mage's office, sage's office, whatever they're called, with an attached bathroom. And that is the whole build, my friends. Hopefully you guys liked it. I am really, really proud of this one. Like I said, it took me hours upon hours to build this one, but it's so worth it because I will get a lot of use out of this building. Hopefully you guys like it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. Please give my channel a subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out, and I love making content for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you had a good time. I will catch you guys next time, and I hope you have a great day. See you later.